Welcome student. In the last class we have discussed about the intensity for a solid sphere and a hollow sphere. It was the application of the Gauss theorem. There are three applications of the Gauss theorem. First is the intensity for a sphere, second is the intensity for a cylinder, and third is the intensity for a conducting or non-conducting plate. We have already discussed the two types of sphere. One is the solid sphere and another is the hollow sphere. Now we are going to discuss for the intensity of a cylinder, and in this case also there are two types of cylinder. One is a solid cylinder, another is the hollow cylinder. But before starting it, we have to clear our concept that for the solid sphere or the solid cylinder, I think the total charge is distributed over the volume. That's when it is the volumic charge density. But if it is a hollow sphere or hollow cylinder, then the total charge is distributed over the surface. So it is a case of surface charge density. But if we consider any cylinder, in this class we will discuss the amount of flux which will be produced by this cylinder. You can take the cylinder as a hollow cylinder or a solid cylinder, whatever. We are considering this is the axis of the cylinder and this is the radius of the cylinder, and that is capital R, which is constant. The L is the length or the height of the cylinder. Now if the charge is distributed over the surface or over the volume of this cylinder, we are considering a very small area here. And we all know that the area vector is perpendicular to the plane. Then we are considering this is the direction of the area vector. If we are considering the charge is positive, because all the reference charge are positive for mass, then what will be the direction of intensity? We know that the direction of intensity or the electric lines of force is always perpendicular to the surface. So we can consider the direction of intensity E is also perpendicular with the surface. That's mean these both are the vector which are perpendicular to this surface. Then we can conclude that the two vector, that is a ds vector and the E vector, are in the same direction. Therefore, the value of theta is 0 degree for us. And if the value of theta is 0 degree, then we know that the flux phi is equal to Ea cos theta. And if the value of theta is 0, then cos 0 is 1. So ultimately, the flux Ea cos theta have the positive value. So that should be greater than 0. So that will be a positive flux. Now if we consider this surface. If we consider this surface, we are again considering a very small surface here. So this is the area vector, which is the ds vector now, and it is also perpendicular to the surface. And if the intensity is a vector, then this will be again the direction of intensity, and it is again perpendicular to the surface. So similar to this side, here also the two vector, E vector and ds vector, are in the same direction. Therefore, the angle between them is again 0. Then we can conclude for this side, the flux will be Ea cos 0. That means cos 0 is 1. So is Ea, and that is also greater than 0, which have a positive value. So first thing we have to remember, we have to understand that the produced flux in this two case is not for the total surface area of this cylinder, but it is also only for the lateral surface area. Now if we consider there are the two discs. This is the first disc on the top and this is the second disc in the bottom. If we consider the first disc and we are considering very small area on the disc, I think the area will be perpendicular to the plane. So this will be the ds vector now for this circular plane. And the intensity is again in this direction. Or it may be in this direction, whatever it is. And in this case, it is perpendicular because this two vector is now perpendicular. That means the theta is 90 degree. And if we put the cos 90, the cos 90 is 0 for us, and there are about no flux for this circular part. Similar to that, if we consider this circular track, this circular plane on the bottom, if we consider a small area, then what will be the direction of ds vector? It will be perpendicular to the surface, so it will be downward. And the intensity is again perpendicular to the ds vector, so this angle is 90. And if this angle is 90, then cos 90 is 0. Therefore, no flux for this circular plane also. So this picture is very important for your concept. This picture tells the story that the produced flux for any cylinder, it may be a hollow cylinder or solid cylinder, it will be only for the lateral surface area. There is no flux because of the two circular plane on the top, on the bottom. So for the calculation of the flux, whenever we have to put down the value of the area, then this area will only be 2 pi RL. And we know that the 2 pi RL is not the total surface area of the cylinder, but it is the lateral surface area of the cylinder. Now we are moving to another concept which is very important for this proof. The concept is, if we consider this is the cylinder for us, then the length of the cylinder is L and this is the axis. In this case of sphere, we are considering a quantity small r, and this small r was the distance of any point from the center of the sphere. Now in case of cylinder, we are again considering this quantity small r. And now this small r is the distance of the any point, the distance between the any point that may be pointed outside or inside or on the surface to the axis. Because in case of sphere, there is a center. In case of cylinder, there is an axis. So if the point is on the axis, then we can consider this small r will be 0 for us. If we consider the radius of this cylinder is r and the point is on the surface, then we can say this small r will be capital R if the point is on the surface. But if we consider the point is inside of this sphere, cylinder, if the point is here, then we can say this is small r and this small r will be less than capital R. So, if the point is inside of the cylinder, the small r, which is a variable, which is the distance between the points and the axis, will be less than capital R. And if the point is outside, if the point is here, then the radius or the distance is r, and now this small r is greater than capital R. So according to the position of the point, the value of small r is varying. So we can conclude that on the axis the small r is 0. If it is inside, then the small r is less than r, and if it is outside, then small r is greater than r. So we can write on the surface the small r is equal to capital R. And if the point is inside, then the value of the small r will start from 0 and ends at capital R. So we can say inside the small r is in between 0 to r. One thing you have to note that inside the small r may be equal to 0. But small r is not equal to capital R, because if the small r is equal to capital R, then it will be on the surface. And now if it is outside, it starts from here and ends at infinity. So we can say for outside, this value of small r is between capital R to infinity. Again we can say the small r is not equal to capital R, because if it is equal to capital R, it will be on surface and it ends at infinity. So before starting the topic of intensity for a cylinder, that may be a solid cylinder or hollow cylinder, we have to understand this concept that all the flux of the cylinder will be formed by the lateral surface area, not because of the upper disc and lower disc of the cylinder. And therefore for calculation we have to put down the area, and that area is only 2 pi RL, and the point may be on the surface or inside or outside of the cylinder. And according to that, if it is on the surface, the small r is equal to capital R. If it is inside, then small r is less than capital R and in between 0 to capital R. And if it is outside, the small r is greater than capital R and it will be in between R and infinity. So now in the next class, we'll start with the intensity of the cylinder. Thank you.